For more on this, former staffer on the National Security Council, Fox News contributor Gillian Turner joins us here. Gillian, interesting point that the president made in Kevin Corke's report. The president said in a recent interview, well, the Ayatollah is just like everybody else. He's a politician. We shouldn't really believe the rhetoric. It begs the question, should we believe what the administration is saying about this deal? If the Ayatollah is just acting like a politician, maybe they are too.
You know, rhetoric has been important all along in this deal, as myself and other analysts have really argued here. You know, the president and the administration have created a false dichotomy that posits that us opponents of the deal are...
So they're spinning just like the Ayatollah is?
At this point, yes, because what they've really got to focus on now is selling this deal to the Congress, both chambers.
Has there ever been a time in history, and you're a student of history, that a president has had to sell a major national security policy that has been so controversial in this way?
Absolutely, over and over. I think history bears that out. You know, President George W. Bush most recently had to really get out there and sell, you know, Iraq engagement to the American people. President Obama's had to do this before with his Iraq and Afghanistan policies. It's not the first time he's had to do this. It's just the first time that he's really become so critical of his opponents in a very political way.
He's been very, very critical of opponents. He steered clear of taking any kind of shots at Chuck Schumer, obviously the Democratic senator who split ranks. But this is what he said about congressional Republicans who opposed the deal. Take a listen.
It's those hardliners chanting death to America who've been most opposed to the deal. They're making common cause with the Republican caucus.
Wow. Instant classic almost.
Yeah. You know, Senator Schumer's position that he staked out earlier this week really hit a nerve with opponents of this deal, both sides of the aisle, not so much because he said anything groundbreaking, but because of who he is, right? A senior Senate Democrat who's poised to become the Democratic leader. Recall that as we've gone along so far, criticism in the Senate has really been led by people like Senator Tom Cotton, who's
and
you know,
Ted Cruz
antics.
And others,
But a lot of people have been quite unserious about this, and that's hurt the cause more than helped.
You have to wonder what somebody like Bob Corker is going to say and other things. What's also interesting is some of the facts that are coming out surrounding what's happening with Iran. We got word in the past couple of days that they've been cleaning out the Parchin facility that the U.S. and Israel has been worried that they were using for nuclear testing and that kind of thing. There's some pictures of it right there. A very secret facility that now inspectors are going to be let into because of the deal. And all of a sudden, well, gee, we need to clean it out before that happens. The other thing that's happened that our Jennifer Griffin broke the story on is Soleimani, a very senior Iranian general, the head of the IRGC, Revolutionary Council, Quds Force, those kinds of things. All of a sudden, he shows up in Russia a couple of days ago to meet with Vladimir Putin. You can't imagine the timing's a coincidence.
No, and both occurrences are really a kick in the face to the United States. It shows us just how unserious Iran is about this deal and that they don't plan to honor any of its provisions now or in the future.
It speaks specifically to the general showing up in Russia. What can we learn from that? What are, shall we say, the security implications of it?
Well, you know, number one, this is an individual who has probably, you know, been involved in more plots and plans to kill Americans here at home and abroad.
And been successful in some.
Than some of the worst dictators in the Middle East that everybody knows about. I think Americans here at home are, for the most part, aware that this is somebody who's quite literally one of the worst people on earth. But, you know, we're going to have to really step up our rhetoric in return. You know, UN issued a statement voicing concern when this story broke.
Does rhetoric matter or does actions matter in this case?
Both matter, but I think that the administration so far with this nuclear issue has, you know, been touting the idea that rhetoric doesn't matter and it's what's on paper in the deal. That's absolutely not true, as we're now coming to see.
Well, we're going to see what actually matters and what up on Capitol Hill when the vote tallies come in, both in terms of whether the president gets any more defections from the Democrats and whether there's a veto-proof majority that comes through. Here to analyze it all, Gillian Turner. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.